Adding and subtracting fractions. Adding fractions or taking away with fractions is actually very easy because it follows one simple rule. And that is that only the same types of fractions can be added or minused. So we need to make sure that we're adding the exact same type of fraction pieces or minusing the same type of fraction pieces, or it won't work. So that just keeps it really simple. So let's work through an example to show this. And first we're going to show an example that won't work by showing halves and sixths. So let's say we've got 1/2 and 1/6 and we want to add them together. So we get these pieces and we could collect them and add them to our pocket if we were cutting them off, or we could, if they were cakes, we could add them to our bellies. However, if we wanted to say what the actual fraction answer is, we're going to have a problem because we have a big piece and a small piece. So how do we add those? Well, we end up with just a big piece and a small piece. So 1/2 plus 1/6 is equal to 1/2 plus 1/6. There's no actual fraction answer that we can give other than that without doing other forms of cutting or changing to the fractions. So 1/2 plus 1/6 doesn't quite work. Let's now change to an example that will work. Let's look at 3/6 plus 1/6. Now, if you're paying close attention, you might see some similarity between this question and 1/2 plus 1/6. And we'll get to that idea in the next clip. But for now, we've got 3/6 plus 1/6. They're the same size pieces. They're easily added together. And so we just have 4 of them now. So 4/6. If it's sixths plus sixths, then the answer can be in sixths as well. So it's very clear and simple. Let's now move on to a subtraction example. And here we've got 2 circles, but they're cut slightly differently. The first one is cut into 4/6. And now I'm going to minus away the 2 pieces of the second circle, but they are cut into 8ths. So it's 2/8. So here we have 4/6 minus 2/8. Now, how would we go about doing this? Well, the answer is the same as before. We can't take away smaller pieces from larger pieces because we would have no idea exactly what we would have left. The only way to tackle this is if we somehow change the pieces to be the same size. And to do that, we would tackle that skill in an upcoming clip. So, as it stands, it is impossible to minus away a different fraction type from sixths. So, what would we do? Well, we would be stuck there or would need to employ a new skill. So let's look at an example that works. Here we have eighths. We have 6/8 coloured in on the left and we're wanting to take away 2/8. So here in a picture form, we can clearly see that we want to take 2 shapes away, triangular looking shapes from the first circle. So that would be quite simple to do because they match, they're the same size. So I could take away my 2, which I'll show by crossing out, and I would be left with, of course, a shape that now looks like this that I've drawn on the right, with 2 of those 8ths removed. So 6/8 minus 2/8 would be 4/8. And again, if you're paying close attention, you might be seeing some similarities to other equivalent fractions here. And this will come into play if we want to use some further adding and subtraction skills later on. But for now, the simple rule is that you cannot add or take away fractions unless they're the same type of fraction. And to add a rule there, if you really would like to have it, this means the denominator must be the same. Because if the denominator is the same, that is telling us that they're the same fraction type. So here the denominator on the screen is 8, and that lets us know that we've got 8ths, take away 8ths, and we can do that easily. So the closing idea is only same fraction types can add or subtract, making it very easy process indeed. And this is always true. This is never, ever not true. So it is impossible to add or take away fractions without having them first be the exact same type of fraction or have the same denominator. But what about this example? Some people will be already asking. Here I have 1/2 plus 1/4. And usually there's students that think straight away, 1/2 plus 1/4, I know the answer to that. and I know that these can be added. Well, watch ahead to adding and subtracting unlike fractions, where we explore how we can go about this. But remember, the rule that we've discussed is still true, that we can never add two different fraction types as shown on screen. We can only ever add fractions that are the exact same type with the same denominator. And we'll kickstart the next video clip with this exact problem on screen to show you what I mean.